All right, all right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. My name is Bison, aka Bison Trades, over on Twitter, and welcome back to another episode of RareFUD Radio. We got a good one today. We got a really good one. There's a lot to talk about in this ecosystem. It never sleeps. I swear it doesn't. We're gonna be talking about Magic Eden, re-implementing marketplace fees. I got some words to say about that. We are also going to be talking about the Bonks mint today that is coming out from Omni Creative, aka the Fracture team, aka Soul Gods, aka Gods now, whatever you want to call them. We are also talking about Claynosaurus. Claynosaurus has a clay airdrop coming on Saturday. We'll be talking a little bit about that. We'll be talking about market overview. We'll be talking about using Soul Sniper. Please do. It is now my favorite tool by far. It's not even close. And Hello Moon and everything like that. But definitely going to be talking about Soul Sniper today. We got a lot to talk about. We'll talk about the health of the market, all that good stuff in between. But of course, I'm going to kick it over to my co-host, welcome them on stage. It is Tuesday. We're in 2023. I'm going to welcome up Joe Soul first. Joe, how are we doing today, my man?
Oh, we're doing great, man. Wide-eyed, ready to go.
Yeah. Bro, the market never sleeps. It's been really good. I know, you and I have been talking about TA a lot. This has been a really good time to be a technical trader right now in terms of tokens and everything like that. We'll get into that in a little bit, but of course, it's also been a good time for NFTs as well. So definitely going to grab some of that information. We'll be talking about that a little bit, but then we also have to welcome up our main man, Door. Door, how we doing today, my man?
Yo, what's going on, everybody? Every day's a holiday. Happy to be back. A lot's going on in the market. It still seems pretty lively. I think we're having some pullbacks, but that's the natural way of things. But yeah, man, I'm excited to talk about everything today.
Yeah, we have a lot to talk about. Let's go ahead and kick it off. Oh my goodness, let's talk about that pullback because it was a pretty hefty one. In terms of volume, we were seeing about what was it? About 500K of volume across all marketplaces and whatnot. Now we are seeing 315K. There is a reason for that, and we've seen a drastic pullback on Magic Eden's volume. And again, there's a reason for it. 315K volume is we would be jumping for joy still back in the bear market, like the true bear market where nothing was moving. This is a little bit concerning for me, and we now see that Magic Eden only has about 71% share. Coral Cube is at 16%, but I don't know where the TXO is getting this number from. I have not seen any Coral Cube sales at all. Like I went on Coral Cube to see some of the Soul Sniper listings that were apparently there. You can't buy from Soul Sniper, which is weird for Coral Cube. But when I go over there, they're not there. So I'm not sure what's going on. I don't know who's listing on Coral Cube. I think these are inflated numbers, in my opinion. Hades Swap is over at about 9% market share. I guarantee you that number is going up too. ABC holders are going to be very thrilled. Another one I wanted to mention, because I have not seen this before until I pulled up the numbers today. It's called Holy Grails. And I just went to go check out their marketplace. I'm going to have to do more research into this, but they have 1.25% market share. They're now the fourth biggest marketplace according to TXO, which is surprising to me. We'll dive into that in a little bit, but I kind of want to kick it over to you guys. We'll go with Dorian first and then Joe. As far as the market goes, how are we feeling right now?
Yeah, man, I'm feeling overall good. Not like after this huge run up we had because of Bonk, I figured it was the hype was coming to an end soon. Once we started seeing all the bonk derivatives and then the secondary meme coins come out, you start to see this liquidity rotating the projects and everything pumps. And just as everything pumps, everything starts to have a pullback. So we're going to start seeing full prices drop drastically here in the next couple weeks, and then everybody's going to turn depressed again. But yeah, I'm feeling fine with the market. It's not like a surprise. I'm working on a lot of things with Cyber Samurai right now, so I'm super excited about that. So this little pullback's not going to bother me, and I still have liquidity on the side, waiting to get in a couple more projects. I got into Claynos a couple days ago, so I'm looking for another project to get into, but we'll discuss a little bit more on that later.
Of course. Joe, how are we feeling about the markets right now? I mean, just looking at NFTs as well as the overall, crypto space.
Yeah, man, it's the natural progression. Choppy, slow times on the Solana ecosystem. People mess around with NFTs because it's fun. They got the liquidity there. It's not like they're really leaving Sol exposure. And then, we saw that happening for a while there between $8 to that $12 range. And then now that we've seen that explosion with Sol, that's going to obviously have the inverse relationship with the floor price. So we see that floor price drop a little bit, people taking liquidity out. And then you get excited, right? You get people that are traders like me and Bison that go, all right, let's fund a trading account now. Let's just grab a little bit of this volatility, and you just see funds starting to disperse, and then you'll get a calmness in the market, a choppiness in the market where you're ranging 2 to 5%, and people might come back to hedge into NFTs. But it's just a natural progression in ETH NFTs and in Sol, alike, that inverse relationship with the price of the underlying asset and the floor price of that illiquid JPEG.
Yeah, they it has been really fun to trade coins lately. Not so much NFTs, and I think that is a byproduct of a few things. One, we are now seeing unique 24-hour buyers, according to Soul Sniper, is about 8,300, which is about a 50% drop. Not 50%, it's about a 33% drop from our 12K highs that we recently saw. And I'm sitting there a little bit worried that I think this is mainly a byproduct of floor price increasing in terms of Sol USD value, because we saw an explosion in Sol price. I mean, Sol just shot up to $16, and while that may not seem like a lot to a lot of people, that's over 100% increase since our $8 lows. And when you see that kind of price movement, you're going to naturally see some of these floors adjust to USD value, which is kind of what I was theorizing. I did not think it was going to happen this fast, that we were going to rebound into, this $14 to $16 range so quick. But this is why I was a little scared of buying blue chips. And of course, as soon as I bought, my monkey, we're now seeing drawdowns in the floors of about 30 Sol, which isn't really like a huge thing. I actually loaned mine out. I'm really glad I got such a good loan to value on it. But it's one of those things where if you just held your Sol, and it's one of the things we talk about a lot, you just held your Sol and then bought some of these drawdowns, you're sitting much prettier than people who are chasing pumps. And so you have to just be aware of that. If you are a trader like Joe and myself, we are always looking for optimal entries. If you're somebody like Door, and even myself to some extent, where we're looking more for swing trades, I think this will naturally correct itself over time. I think we will start seeing Sol prices of these JPEGs start adjusting upwards back to where they were. And so now we're just looking at a nominal increase in USD value. That's just me. We're also looking at Magic Eden marketplace fees coming back into play. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But Door, I see you want to say something over here.
Yeah, I would just want to hit on your point, like you said with the S&B, like we're seeing a drawdown in Sol price, but also it's like you brought in close when the value, if I'm not mistaken, when the value before this recent Sol pump. So you technically had a better USD value on your monkey than you did a Sol value, which I think is important in blue chips in the long run. Go ahead. Sorry, dog.
Yeah, no, that's fine, but I would have, it's always evaluating opportunity cost, right? And opportunity cost if I just held the Sol versus if I didn't. So it's always evaluating that. It's always finding that edge. And look, I just found a monkey I like, guys. I mean, that's the reason I bought in, and I saw the loan value was so good on these loans that I immediately, it was not even 24 hours before I took that loan. It was a 280 Sol loan. I'd have to pay back 12 Sol in interest. If we keep seeing Sol rip, I just hedge my bet there, and I'm happy to let that default, and then I'll go grab another monkey that's lower in floor price. So yeah, I might have lost a little bit of Sol value, but at least I'm hedging my bet a little bit, kind of gaining a call option on it. So there's you just
big
always
brain Bison.
You look for these market discrepancies, and that's what we always preach here. And so the Sol volume going down, the number of buyers going down, is a little bit concerning to me. And I think that is a byproduct of USD value of Sol going up. And it was not just a little pump. I mean, they're 20% days over the past week. We saw 20% gainer days. So that is a pretty big draw up on top of a steady grind up. We'll see if it retraces. I do think it goes back to mid 14s, $15. If it holds that range, I'm bullish. That's a really good retest If it goes below, then I think we retest $10. That's just my thesis in the swing terms of things. But Magic Eden implementing marketplace fees. Oh my gosh, I hate them. I hate them. I will clearly say that on this podcast. I'm not afraid to either. We're RareFUD Radio. I'm barely FUD. Magic Eden is the worst. I will say that till the day I die right now. You guys are the worst. They did not, bro. Joe was saying it in a space earlier. You develop a platform to make announcements at the very top of your page before we even see any collections. You did not mention once that, hey, by the way, fees are coming back in like a week or something like that. You didn't say it once. And now you want to implement them again. And you're like, oh, by the way, we're only charging like 1.5%. And it's on the buyer side, which I have another problem with. That is a whole different argument. It's 1.5%, not 2%. And like, that's better, right? That's better. We got to create revenue. Magic Eden, you were the worst. You completely siphoned creator royalties, which again, I am a big proponent of creators holding some of the supply back, selling at certain price targets. They are a holder. They're incentivized with holders. But if you are going to kill some of these things until we get a solution that either enforces that, because a lot of people weren't able to do that. They were selling off the basis of royalties. So they weren't able to withhold supply like we're seeing in current collections. Mm-hmm. So they don't get that opportunity. And that's my big thing is like you killed the revenue stream of some of the most OG collections that got you to where you are today. And now you are implementing buyer side marketplace royalties or marketplace fees. Oh, brother. I'm going to let you guys take it away before I go off on an absolute tangent. Let's kick it over to Joe first and then Door. Joe, what's up?
Yeah, man. Like I this is my aspect. I think 0.5% is where you the top, and then you have your reward system, and you can get it down to 0 depending on how much you spend. Right? That's fine for me. 0.5, you've got to keep doors running. You got to keep it going. You have the evaluation. You have the big money behind you. That keeps the doors running, operations going. When you start creeping up that 2%, it's a little bit, purgy. I don't agree with that. And I disagree about, I'm fine with two things. One, bring that to 0.5% as the top and let the reward system work down. And two, lay out something the right way. You guys are evaluated $1 billion and you have infrastructure for announcements, you have infrastructure for reward hub, and then you have infrastructure for picking your royalty that you want to pay, right? But you can't pick the amount of percent of fee you want to pay towards Magic Eden. So all this is like predatory towards the buyers and consumers and not towards themselves. So just lay it out right. Tell people you're bringing fees back a month ahead of time, and then let them know weekly, right? Have the reward system working perfectly. So people say, oh, I spent 200 SOL. I'm not paying any fees now, or I'm at 0.1% fees or whatever, So that's where I'm at with it. I'm not against full 0% fees, but I am against predatory level fees.
Yeah. All right. I agree with a lot of those points. Let's kick it over to Door real quick. Door, what are your thoughts on this?
So for me, I'll probably have the contrary opinion to both of you. Like, yeah, they could have announced it better. So it is a little bit slimy that they're like, oh yeah, we're cutting these back on. But for me, it's like, we knew they were going to do it. They're a company. Their whole goal is to make profit. And if it's that big of an issue, like not to pay royalties, just go to an AMM. I mean, there's options out there. So I really think it's up to the market to decide. I don't mind paying 1.5%. And I also don't mind paying the royalties for the projects that I invest in, because it's like I'm typically in profit. So I wasn't one of the individuals who, I'm not a short-term trader, so it's like royalties don't get me as much. I can understand your guys' perspective, especially when you're in and out positions trying to scalp prices. It's like, that's a significant chunk. But for me, I'm just like selling things either at a massive loss or a massive profit. So I'm just like, yeah.
That's fair. Okay. So here's my big qualms with it. One, creator royalties should be a buyer optional thing. If you believe in the project, if you want to have utility of the project and everything like that, you're not making a swing trade on it, then you should have the option to pay royalties. It go to creators, and then it unlocks perks within the ecosystem, because you are a medium to long-term holder. Yeah. And you're like, hey, I think in order to pay this fee, I now get access to the ecosystem. That's fine. And now you have a revenue stream for creators, which I think is important. Creators are the lifeblood of this industry. Without these JPEGs, without anything like that, creators and buyers and sellers, those are who make up the industry. not marketplaces. We have seen marketplaces be able to be replicated on a massive scale. We saw it with Yaw, we saw it with Hades Swap, we saw it with Tensor, all these AMMs. We saw it with Coral Cube, whom Magic Eden absorbed. It's not hard, and Hades Swap is operating at a much less operational cost. And at one point in time, when they did introduce 0% marketplace fees, Hades Swap was closing in on 40% market share volume. Like, that is, when did they do that? When they saw that their pedestal was threatened and it was on its last leg. So they did that, and that's fine. I get it. You're trying to get, like, I get it from a business standpoint. That's fine. It is not announcing it. Zero. I have not seen anything on it until today when I went to go buy some stuff, and I was like, huh, that's strange. I was looking at the bottom line. That's not what I signed up for, because we had been used to it for the past 3 months. It's also the fact that it is buyer side. I cannot stress this enough. Who is getting the benefit from the marketplace? Is it the lister or the buyer? It's the lister. You get to choose your marketplace. You get to choose which one you list with and who you're putting your listings on. They are the one hosting your NFT. They are the one absorbing it into their wallet. They are making sure that they are holding on to the risk of selling this thing. It is not the buyer. It is 0% the buyer. The buyer does not, they're just going for the lowest price possible. So now you're putting that fee on the buyer side, and you can't help it if, like, they know what they're doing too, because if they put it on the listing side, then the listers would just go somewhere else. That's what they know, exactly what they're doing. If it was on the listing side of things, they'd be like, well, shoot, why wouldn't I just go to hyperspace or anything like that? They are trying to make sure that they are still getting fees and that it is pretty much enforced in the market, not optional. And I just have so many problems with it being on the buyer side. I have so many problems with it. I just don't agree with it at all. It is in anything you do. If you are listing on Craigslist, if you are listing on the MLS when it comes to real estate or anything like that, the listing side pays the fee. It pays the real estate agent fee. If you're listing on Craigslist, you're using the platform fee. If you're listing on eBay or anything, the lister gets the fee, not the buyer. So creator royalties on the buyer side, totally fine with. Magic Eden now implementing it and now being like, oh yeah, we're sorry. Creators don't get a revenue stream. We're not doing anything to enforce it. We haven't even done anything. We just copied Hypersphere with our Magic Eden tickets or whatever the F it was. And we're not doing anything to benefit this ecosystem. By the way, we're now adopting Ethereum and Polygon before we fix our platforms, which they do have a number of problems. This 0% makes sense to me. They are not good for the ecosystem. I'm listing everything elsewhere. And it's hard too, because the liquidity is on Magic Eden, right? I mean, that's why you list it. And if listers who are just like us, they're traders, they're like, I'm listing things on Magic Eden because I have no fees over there, right? I think it is 0.2%. I think Shrimp pointed that out in the earlier space, which is also very shady, because they're like, hey, we're going to charge 7.5 times more for the buyer side fee than the seller, and we're still getting about 2%, which is what we had before. And people are like, well, I'll pay 0.2% for the liquidity we have over on Magic Eden. Mm-hmm. And buyers are just like in a stranglehold over here. And I think it's going to kill the volume of this system, this ecosystem. I think we're going to see a lot of drawdowns. I'm not about it. And it is all for their gain, not the benefit of the Solana ecosystem. So that is my big issue with it. They're hiding it under a guise. Dude, I've bought so many things on Magic Eden that hasn't counted towards my levels, which was supposed to be a big thing. Like, hey, loyalty rewards, right? Like, we'll get a discount in our fees if we use Magic Eden. And I'm sitting over here like, man, you're going to kill the momentum we are now seeing. It's been so good lately, so good. And I think Magic Eden's going to kill it. I do. Yeah. I think we're going to kill it.
So we always know, it's like, I guess this is just like local top signal. Like, we always know these catalysts comes along that propels the ecosystem up, and then these bearish events happen. So this is just one of the many bearish events that we'll encounter in the future that drives the price down. But as I say with people following influencers, it's like, who feel like they're getting dumped on, it's like, you allow yourself to get dumped on. So I think it's, in this case, it's similar in the sense that it's up for the market to determine which marketplaces they want to use. If people continue to buy and sell off Magic Eden because liquidity is there, it's like, then it's just going to be a reality we have to live in. But there are other alternatives out there such as hate swap. If you really have that big of an issue with fees for Magic Eden, just go to hate swap. And I mean, don't get me wrong, you pay fees there as well. So, but yeah, there's alternatives, and I'm interested to see how it shakes out. Like with this re-implementation, like what is HGE and hate swap going to do to try to recapture some of that market share from discontented market participants?
Yeah, I mean it's gonna happen. I guarantee you, Magic Eden's losing their throne this year. I will
wouldn't be
say that.
surprised.
I will say that from the top of the mountain that they did not do anything in the interim over the 3 months that they did not have marketplace fees that makes me want to use Magic Eden over the next, well, I'll use them for the next month or two when liquidity is still there. But
Yeah.
by then, it's going to be gone. And they're not going to do anything to gain that market share back. Like this loyalty reward system, not enough. They're doing 0%. And all they're trying to do, I think it's so funny too, that when they implement this again, it is on the day of Bonk's Mint, which is probably the most hype mint I've seen in this ecosystem that is launching on Magic Eden. So not only are they getting the launchpad revenue, but they are also getting the marketplace
Trading
revenue.
volume.
Yep. I'm telling you, it's smart, but it's so sleazy. Oh my goodness, it's so sleazy. And I shouldn't expect anything less. I mean, I really shouldn't at this point because they do it time and time again. And I'm just so over it. So yeah, all my volume's going to AMMs. I'll set up pools. I will buy and sell through pools. Hades Swap is decent. The fact that they integrated with Tensor at this point is bullish to me. I mean, I love Tensor so much. I think they are, from a UI standpoint, the best AMM I've used. And so integration between Hades Swap and Tensor is good for me. And then the benefit I know goes to the people that are actually good in this ecosystem that bought into ABC or they're getting Hades Swap or Hades token in the long run. And like, I'm fine with it. I'm just so tired of Magic Eden, dude. Even at current volume, if they get all this marketplace fee, they're making 3,000 SOL a day. What project's doing that right now off creator royalties? Nobody. They made sure of it too, and they're like, yeah, we're just gonna do it from our own good. It's not good for the Solana ecosystem. I'm done. I'm gonna kick it over to Joe real quick. Give us our closing statements and then door to rebuttal.
Yeah, I don't really have any. I agree with you, Bryce. I'm on the camp of your side, man. I'm a heavy trader, and I'm not mad at keeping doors open. But you got to keep traders happy because those are the main guys bringing liquidity and shuffling around your floor and keeping shit going. Investors aren't, right? They're just holding and hoping for the best. And mostly are holding for a year and a day in a typical market. You know what I'm saying? So you got to take care of those who are closest to your goal. And those are traders, so you got to make sure they're happy. You can back test, you can ask people. There's so many things to do before you lay out big things that have such an effect on a macro. So yeah, bro, I'm right there with you, man. I just think it could have been handled better. I'm not saying no fees at all. I'm just saying just a little bit more discourse, maybe a Twitter space with the people, and then and letting them know, listen, I'm thinking about doing this, or like a DAO vote or something. I don't know. There's so many different ways it could have been handled, and especially with the platform that Web3 gives us, right? Like we have the ability to do on-chain voting systems. Like there's so many different ways out there. So yeah, I'm with you there, Bryson. And don't get it misconstrued, guys. I like fees just at not a predatory rate.
Yep. I'm fine with fees. I am. I think there's a logical reason to them. And like, if you use Gemini back in the day and Coinbase and stuff, they charge like a 1% fee. I'm fine with that. Like I accept those risks. I buy knowing I do that. I know there's other platforms that may offer a lower fee, but I just like the platforms better and I trust them a little bit more. And Magic Eden doesn't have that trust factor for me. It does have the liquidity, but for how much longer? And I think that's just where I'm going with it. Is like I know there's other platforms, which is what I'm going to be using. Like I am going to be using Hades Swap, and
same.
I would encourage a lot of other people to be exploring other options because the day will come where Magic Eden does not have as much liquidity, which is their primary feature right now, as they do right now. And you're going to be wishing that you were more familiar with other platforms. So I would encourage you, if you guys are listening to this, please go explore other platforms while you still can.
Yeah, dog. I do agree with you and Joe. It's like, of course, I'm empathetic towards like traders' perspective because I'm the guy that Joe was just describing who sits there for holds his bag for about a year and then sells. So it's not that big of a deal. But for you guys, I definitely understand where you're coming from. And honestly, it's like I'm starting to gravitate more towards hate swap just because it is a bit more it's a lot more decentralized than Magic Eden. And speaking on fees, even though it's not directly dealing with NFTs, but Coinbase fees are like exorbitantly high, dog. Like I just had to get their stupid little subscription model because I'm over here getting ripped off trying to DCA into Sol. I'm like, dog, you got to pay fees when you buy Sol. You got to pay fees when you sell. Then you got to pay fees to like transfer money to the bank account. Oh, dog, it's the worst.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like it's a what $8 fee per month or something like that. Like if Magic Eden wanted to go to a subscription model, sure, whatever. I would rather accept that than them just like sneakily trying to put it in every single NFT again. And we're going to see subscription models. It'll come back. Like we saw y'all try to do it, but they just didn't have enough user adoption. So
I remember. Oh, sorry.
No, you're good.
Oh yeah, no, I was about to say I remember y'all was talking all this trash about because they were the first movers to implement zero marketplace royalties. Man, their volume is abysmal. I'm talking about no percent, dude. It's terrible. I feel bad for y'all.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, I don't because they were not. They were doing it for their own benefit more than they were for the ecosystem, and so we saw some of these other marketplaces do like they're like, okay, there's a happy medium here. I'm glad we're having this discourse, and like we saw Hyperspace move to a 1% marketplace fee. We saw some of these AMMs say like, hey, we'll still find you a way to generate royalties even when these things go to 0% because now we found a way around it. And so there's a happy medium. I'm fine with it. I'm fine having discourse until we find an enforceable way to do so that is beneficial for marketplaces, creators, traders, investors, all that good stuff. But this doesn't feel like it. It doesn't. And so I will say that till the day I die. I don't think this is a good move for the space. I think they're killing a lot of momentum we have been seeing so much momentum in Solana, and we now see it. We now have the data. We're down to 314,000 SOL, and I know a part of that is due to SOL going up in price, but we're going to see it trickle down over the next few days. And so I swear if we go back into another like sub 100,000 SOL volume market, I'm gonna be sad, man. I'm gonna be sad, and it's gonna be Magic Eden's fault, and I'm gonna point to them. So,
real quick interjection, last interjection. It's a tip. I'm going away from it for anybody that wants to use Coinbase like Dorian is getting bucked on fees. That was a big.
Oh yeah, dog.
Dude, get the Coinbase card. Like I said, send the USDC right to your USDC Solana wallet on Coinbase. Right, boom. You don't need any fees. You can spend that on anything. If you don't want to do that, right, then you still do the same thing, send the USDC, and then swap straight to cash, 0% fee. Reason. There's no reason to sell Solana on the sex, right? Swap Solana on your Phantom, and then send the USDC SOL straight to Coinbase, then go right to cash, 0% fee. No reason to waste fees there, Dor.
When are we getting our Coinbase sponsorship? That's the real question.
I know.
That was a great little spiel. Did you read that from a script, Joe?
Yeah, I've been doing this so long now, bro. Like, I don't know why people don't do it. And like, dude, because it's like literally, all right, USDC's in my Phantom. That USDC is spendable for me instantly. Cool, I just sold 3K. That 3K is right in my Coinbase card instantly. Now I'm spending that all I want, getting 1 to 4% back on any cryptos that I choose that they have during that month. Because it cycles. Every month they'll offer you new rewards. So I do that, and then I'm like, oh, I need it in my actual bank account. I got to offload some fiat. Cool, swap straight to USD for free. So I'm literally not losing any money. All I'm paying is taxes at the end of the year on the USDC swap. So it's one taxable event, not a few.
Yeah, I'm all about it, Joe. I mean, if you can game the system like that, and they probably make sure they're like, yeah, we get more off the credit card and debit card fees than we do on your Coinbase Pro subscription or whatever. Sure, go ahead, sign up for that. So they know what they're doing. And that's mutually beneficial. That's what I'm talking about. Is like, if you're open to that, they have those kind of solutions. But moving forward, talking about Magic Eden, the first launchpad drop from them that I've seen any hype around is the Bonks airdrop, or not airdrop, but the mint. But this coming from the Omni team, which is Soul Gods, which is now Gods, which is the Fracture, whatever you want to call them. I don't know. We saw a massive run up in the Gods floor price. It went from about 14 SOL all the way up to 65-ish SOL and is now retraced down to 42 SOL. So if you bought the top on Gods, I'm sorry. Don't buy into a pump that is basically for a mint pass. I hope this is a lesson. We've talked about this a lot on the show, but you are now hoping and banking on your bonks mint to be a 21 soul difference if you bought the top. So I can promise you it's a 15K collection. Unless you mint a 101, you're not going to get it. But let's talk about this bonk mint. I'm so torn on it. I'm so torn because, it's coming from the gods team. Look, I've been, I don't know what the fracture is about. Honestly, I've said this a while now. They do seem like bull posting, something's coming type of team where I don't know what they're trying to do. I love the Soul Gods art, dude. The fracture art, it looks great until we got to the bridge. And I was like, what is this? Looks terrible. I'm not even sure what they're doing with that collection. But they haven't done anything since. They've been around for 15 months now. I think they have a staking platform. They make things look really cool. If you looked at their white paper, looks decent, but I just never got what they were about. And now they dropped everything to do this bonk mint. They're quote unquote collaborating with some of the top artists in the space, which sounds bullish. But I think these collaborations are just one-on-ones. And we're talking about 20 different collaborators. So now we are looking at you have a 20 out of 1,500 or 15,000 mint drop to get one of these one-on-ones. And if you don't get one, I don't think it's going to be worth it. That's just my personal opinion. We saw what happened with Bonk Apes, which I would rather buy Bonk Apes right now at this price, which is J Shep and Marcelino and Pico Pops and a lot of other good pixel artists. They came out with this first before Bonks was even announced. I would rather go grab some of those, not financial advice. Nothing we say on the show is financial advice, but I would rather go grab those if you're looking for a bonk theme drop than try to play bonks. Now, you could find some intermediate to short-term gains if you play this right. Just make sure you are a very valuable trade or very good trader. You find value and know that you should be holding and swapping real quick, buying and swapping real quick. So that's kind of where I'm at with this, guys. I want to get your opinion on this. Let's go with Door first, and then Joe. What's your opinion on bonks? I mean, because here's why I think it's positive about them, and I'll hand it over to you, is that they're minting in bonk. They're burning all the bonk supply, but 50% of the royalties are going to be burned, and then the rest are going to the team. And that's kind of where I'm like, oh, they're probably going to pay the artist who collaborated on these, quote unquote, which is good. You should. I mean, they spent their time on it, but that it feels a little bit guysy. Like it's like, oh yeah, we're just doing something fun for the ecosystem, but they're still getting royalties on this. And I guarantee you it's royalties enforced.
Yeah.
Door.
So man, it's like, I'm personally skeptical of anything that comes after a wave of something that kicks off a bull run. Just when we saw a freaking bonk pump, I'm like, oh God, here comes the wave of meme coins and NFT minting and bonk and all this other stuff, because everybody tries to capitalize off that momentum. We see this with NFT narratives all the time. Okay, bears ran up. Guess what? Okay, pandas and hello panther and God knows what, grape goats. Everything starts to try to replicate these things. So if I missed that first wave, which your boy didn't on bonk because, Cyber Samurai holders got all the good alpha, so we ate. But it's like, I don't touch anything after that. It's like, if you're looking for an opportunity to make money, like, yeah, it's there, but it becomes progressively riskier and riskier. Like, yo, I saw that there were collaborations with one artist for Bonk, Bonk Z. But my thing is like, yo, if you really want a piece of that individual's art, just they got editions out there. Go pick up editions. Like IOTA's out there. It's probably hovering around like mint price from John Lay. So if you really want that, just go buy that from John Lay, which will net you more value than spending 25 bonk on this thing. That's probably going to fall. I'm watching it now. It's already 1.9 soul. I guarantee you it's going to fall below mint. Not too sure how hard it's going to rip. It's just like, what is your end goal of doing this? Are you just trying to scalp trade? Like, I just don't understand why you would mint this. Like, I don't. So that's why I really haven't paid much attention to it beyond like knowing about it. Just because, like I said, there's other opportunities out there that can be more profitable, in my opinion.
Yeah. 100%. I think I know why they did it, is because we saw what it did to the floor price of gods. It pumped it like 5x, right? So they just gained a bunch of like, man, I'm so happy I'm in the fracture and all that good stuff from their past holders. Well, now they just absorbed these disgruntled holders who bought the top, and now have to wait because after bonks, what did they got going? I mean, like, is the art really that good? I haven't even looked at the art yet.
Dude, I haven't seen the art. It's at 2.4 now. I'm like just watching these things fly. It's great. Somebody
fun trading environment.
Yeah.
I hope it lasts. But Joe,
but you're flipping for lunch money, dog. I apologize,
Yeah,
Joe.
no, you're right. I mean, you are. That's what we have been saying in this space is like, dude, I really try to hold for like a 2x or like a 40% minimum or something like that. And the marketplace fees now kick into that. And then I don't know, man. It's just it's exhausting. I'm going back to the point where I'm like, my time's better spent somewhere else. I don't know. But Joe, let's kick it over to you, man. What do you think about bonks?
Yeah, man, dude, it's just weird, bro. Like you're just capital. I don't like that it came from the fracture, bro. Like you're capitalizing on this market. You're making money on it. You're a capitalistic dude. That's why you're doing it. All these other artists, I get it. Artists got to eat, so it's like, yeah, you're coming to me with a template. Like I'll throw my art on there and get a cut. Like I feel you on that, but I don't know. To me, it's a little predatory, just like everybody seems to be during times of high liquidity, marketplaces, founders. Everybody gets very predatory, and then markets don't survive like that. You'll see us back below 100K volume soon with a lot of predatory actions like this. Just be careful. People are buying this to try to flip it for a 2 to 5x premium. No one's getting this and holding it. There's no, you know what I'm saying? Let's see how long they build utility out. The one of ones will be the ones trading at premium. This is all a hype cycle. People had bonk to spend. It was free. It makes sense to me, but it's not something that's going to be here for a while. The next flashy thing will be here in a week or two, and this will be under the rug and gone. So yeah, that's all. And to be honest, man, yeah, like NFTs, I bought a few more that I like to stick in the ledger today. I'm not really trading NFTs anymore. I'm back on my leverage stuff. I'm kind of getting tired of just I don't know, the back and forth, the marketplace fees. I can't get a hold on like my premiums anymore. And it just seems more cost effective for me to go, all right, let me just go back to leverage trading. Legit. And I've had in the past 2 days so much more success and less stress. I'm not checking Discords and Twitter and constantly looking at Soul Sniper and looking at volume and just to make a 1 to 3 soul flip. I can go sit on a scalp 10x and make that in 5 minutes. And it's just like that. That's where I'm getting at. And that scares me, right? Because how many more traders are feeling like that? And that's my question. If I'm just feeling like that, I'm not the only one, right, B? And yeah, and that scares me.
Yeah, dude. I mean, like I'm right there with you, Joe. Like I'm looking at it like, man, I feel like now all of a sudden where I was seeing the market so clearly over the past 2 weeks or so, because I was just seeing rotation of capital, right? I mean, everybody got this bonk stuff. Bonk ran up. You know that money's going to flow elsewhere. Some of it was to NFTs. We saw run-ups there. Some of it was to other shit coins, which we saw some of these meme coins absolutely. I mean, like Dor was saying, we just saw bonk spread. And we just start seeing Franc. We start seeing BAT. We start seeing
Chili, Boo.
Yeah. You have
Baby bonk.
Oh my God. It's that was so annoying. I made like some scalps off that, but dude, the amount that I was making off those scalps wasn't worth the stress. Like I was sitting there like, I don't have time to sit at my computer. I don't know. It's just frustrating. I think what's going to happen too with all of this is it's going to consolidate. People are going to be frustrated. They'll be like, you know what? We're going to go back to praising the one true meme coin, which is bonk.
Yep. Yes, sir.
So, and I tweeted about this the other day. These meme coins run in cycles. The first mover is going to be the best mover, not only in the initial price, but also the sustainability of it. And so we are now seeing it to where these things run at turbo cycles. If you look at the 15-minute chart of bonk, I mean, it looks like we already played out through depression, anxiety, all that good stuff. And now we're going into disbelief again, where I think this thing runs. Like I do think bonk goes back and we go see another turbo cycle of it. Again, meme coins are like degeneracy. If you guys are playing these stuff, like be prepared to lose whatever you put in. But I think it all funnels back into bonk. I think these kind of bonk meme plays and stuff like that. We'll see if bonks the PFP does well. I hope they do, honestly, like for holders and stuff. Like I do hope it's fun for the ecosystem and people are enjoying it. The only ones who aren't are the ones who bought the top of gods, which we'll see what happens with them. But I hope the fun factor still is there. Like Joe said, I'm just going back to trading coins right now. There's liquidity over there. I see movers. I see a lot of upside with some of these coins. I've been trading against ETH right now with Solana, which has been so much fun. Dude, I had absolutely cooked on one of my trades. 20% gain in ETH. I'm trying to get ETH right now because we've been talking about it a lot. I'm trying to get as much ETH as possible to play Iron Paw whenever that does come out. So
Yo, we can get into R and part later, but because I got some thoughts.
Yeah. I just be careful out there, y'all. Like, there was so much euphoria running around, and that's why I was aggressively taking profits. I ain't taking profits enough.
We are seeing Bonk and Bonk NFT both getting dumped right now by a couple wallets. So just be careful, right? You might get reaccumulated another 15% up, but just do this chop right now is not for the weak. Like, if you got 100 SOL to spend and you're throwing more than 30% within trades like this, guys, just be careful. Because the volatility I'm seeing of the same wallet buying and selling the same NFTs and the same bonk transactions, like for the same price back and forth, just manipulating the entire thing. So just be careful, guys. These are a lot of people with big money that are making money from you, almost 99% of the time.
Yeah, I do want to hit on your point that you were saying, Joe, earlier about how it's just not worth your time to like do a lot of certain trading. For me last week, I think even though I'm not even close to as good a trader as you, Joe, or Bison, especially on the short term. But it's like I cooked off a bonk just because it was easy. Everything was euphoric. It was up only until it wasn't. And then it was interesting to see on the Twitter timeline how everybody's starting to try to trade bonk when it's going down. I'm like, what are you guys doing? As soon as it started going down, I'm like, I haven't touched it. And then I just waited until times like now where everybody's moving on. Bonk is trading sideways. Yeah, it's choppy, but I'm not trading the chop, so it doesn't matter to me. I see that it's kind of consolidated. And I even put out a tweet yesterday. I'm like, man, nobody's talking about bonk anymore. It seems like a good time to buy. So I just going to start DCAing and slowly into bonk because I still think this thing has legs. And we always discuss on this show risk reward. It's like, could bonk go down? Yes. However, I think there's a higher likelihood that bonk breaks all-time highs again, whether that be in 2 weeks, 2 months, or 2 years. I'm going to put a little bag on the side so I can hold out and ride that momentum back up whenever that time comes.
100%, dude. I just have a weird feeling about bonk. We've been talking about it on a lot of the show. We talked about it before just about anybody else. When we started seeing those tweets come out of which collections are getting some, I wish I looked into it more. I do. But hindsight 2020, we now have a second chance. I think these are pretty good levels. We've seen it stabilize at this 150 range for a while. So I think there's much more upside than like trading chop right now. Because it does feel, I don't want to say it feels bottomed out because, you know, we could chop a little bit more, but I'm starting to see volume creep back into bonk, and that's just something to look at. So just know we are in absolute degenerate season. When you're starting to feel euphoria like we did, it's like a little bull trap. Like, you got to make sure that you're in and out positions. Dude, I was aggressively taking profits. I didn't take profits enough on all my positions because once we saw Sol rip up, I was sitting there like, man, I'm still stuck in a lot of positions. But anywho, let's get into some other news. We do have some more brighter news. Claynosaurus dropping clay on Saturday. If you are holding clay makers, from what I understand, it is the clay makers that are going to be snapshotted. So if you want the alpha, which I was buying, as soon as I saw that tweet drop, I have them on notifications and stuff. I ran to my computer this morning and bought up a bunch of clay makers, which have seen a nice little pump since the 5s I bought them at. But yeah, I think that's the alpha right now. Between now and then, I think clay makers are going to be the ones that have volatility on them once everybody kind of catches wind on them. Right now, they're sitting at about 6.5 floor. That's good. We love to see it. I do think they may run close to double digits, dude. I don't know. There's not a whole lot listed. There's only 233 listed right now. So if you do want to play the trading game of getting the airdrop and stuff, I do think right now is kind of a decision point. I think we might be forming another basis of foundation before we start seeing another price discovery point. Guys, I want to talk about Claynosaurus. Dor is now the owner of a golden clay maker, which the dojo, I mean, you, Saigo, and Shake, I was sitting there this morning. I was like, man, you guys bought golden clay makers before I even knew you guys were buying them. Why did you guys front running me? I didn't buy one. I just bought a ton of clay makers. But
yeah, bro, that's not nice, Dor. That's not nice at all, man.
Yo, I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. Yeah, no, like last stream I told you guys, is like, I haven't had time to do research. And I'm like, I was looking for that one project to go heavy in. So it's like, I was like, man, I have to, like, let me just look into Claynosaurus. Man, as soon as I looked into him, I know Bison's been talking about it forever, but as soon as I like looked it up for myself to build my own conviction, I'm like, yo, I need to pick up some Claynosaurus, man. Like, I picked it up around 30-ish, 31-ish. So I got it in a good position. So I'm like riding solid. And if anything that can hold up value in a bear market, it's Claynosaurs, dog. These boys minted for 7 to 10 SOL in deep bear, minted out, pump 3x, and still held. You think I'm worried about a pullback in Claynosaurs? Nah, dog. These boys gonna be riding, man. And then I'm like, wait, I got some bonk liquidity. I'm feeling myself. I'm about to pick up a golden playmaker.
You got some good pickups, Dor. I saw the ones you posted on Twitter, and I think you did a nice blend of floors, and then you got that gold or charcoal triceratops, whatever.
I like that one.
Yeah, I think, and a lot of people, when you make conviction plays like that, like don't just go full rares or full floors or anything. If you have conviction in it and it's a medium term, I think holding a rare could play out very nicely. I held a bunch of floors when I made the call, and I was looking back on it. I was like, I need some more rares. So I picked up a bunch of Raptors because they do seem to be trading at a little bit of a premium. So Claynosaurs just feel fun. You know, when you look at the floor, I just think, I'm like, man, there's a lot of fun ones in there. You can get a running one, you can get a scared one, you can get Triceratops, you can get a T-Rex or anything like that. And I think a lot of people are undervaluing collections that have really good looking floors. Yes. But also when you see a premium one, you're like, I understand why that's a premium. I understand it. And dude, hats off to you, Dor. I think you got in at a really good price with your gold Claymaker. I think they're already up like 40 SOL or something from your entry point.
I got my golden for like 140, 145. And so they're up like 40 SOL.
So yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's great.
Yep. The last time I checked. Now, you know, also when you're like Dor, and this is why I always like breaking down trading philosophy. Dor is more of a swing / conviction play type of player where he is holding for a medium term. He's holding for at least a few weeks and kind of evaluating from there. He made a play where he doesn't worry too much about liquidity, whereas Joe and I are worried about liquidity. That's why we usually buy at the floor. We're usually in and out of trades. Joe much quicker than I am even, but we like to make sure that there's liquidity. So if we see invalidation of our strategy, then we can get out quickly. Whereas if Dor was a scalper or a high frequency trader like us, he'd look at golden Claymakers and be scared because he knows there isn't liquidity, right? There's only like one sale maybe a day. And so if you're not that one sale, like those can go cascading quickly if bad news comes out. But Dor is conviction player. That's why he went in for one of the more rare ones, the ones that have a nice price differential, and he saw value. And hats off to you, Dor. I think that was a great trade.
Man.
And
thanks.
I'm bullish on Claynosaurs. I love Claynosaurs. I'm big on them now.
Yeah, dude, me too, man. It's like, and one thing that I love how they do is like, there isn't that much information on their roadmap, and then you kind of piece together things. And the best part about that and why it built my conviction is because they know this market, dog. Speculation drives price action in this market. You have faith in the team, and the team is rock solid, dude. Their background is top tier. Cab's been around. He's like an OG in this space. So he knows the market, knows what moves the floor. And that's evident in its current price. And as Bison was saying, I'm not in any rush to sell these Claynosaurs off. I'll let you guys know. I'm looking for at least a 2x on a couple of my Claynosaurs and 3x. I think these might be able to push over 100. And I like to hedge my bets in the sense of I like to go super heavy because a 2 to 3x can pay off massive than me trying to chase everything around. Don't get me wrong. Your boy has taken some massive L's. I love Bubble Goose, but Bubble Goose was one of them, dude. It's like when I go in heavy, it's either going to pay off big or wreck me. And sometimes I get wrecked. I don't think this is the case, though.
Yeah, Dor, hats off to you. Like Dor understands that his losing trades will be outweighed by his winning trades. And so he's fine. You know, you have to pick which one of us. This is why I brought these two guys on, because we all have different trading styles where, you know, we all have different spectrums of how our strategies play out. And Dor knows that he swings for the fences or he strikes out on some of them, and that he knows that he's going to homer some of these way more than he's going to strike out. And that's his play. And whereas Joe's like in and out, quick scalps. We're going, you know, heavy on this. We have low risk over here. I know my exit as soon as it hits, I'm getting out of it. And Joe's saw success that way. So, you know, hats off to both of you guys. Joe, do you still hold clays? Do you still hold Claynosaurs? What do we think is going to happen with Claymakers, just out of your curiosity?
Yeah, I have three Claynosaurs. I have 3 Claymakers. I had 5. I sold 2 on the sold pump, 2 a piece of both. Captured that. But yeah, I'm riding the rest, man. and I'm gonna try to grab some clay as well. I know everything will be deflationary within their ecosystem, so it only makes sense to stack if you got conviction. And this is more of a swing play for me, but I like to take profits just like I scalp. Say a token, for example. Say I entered Sol at 15, it goes to 1650. I will take profit out there, move the stop loss up into like 15% profit, and then add to my position. My average entry obviously will rise. However, I feel comfortable in gaining that next consolidation before the pump. So that same thing with Claynosaurs. Like I got a good entry. I saw the takeoff. I took a little bit of profit, and if they keep going, I might add a little bit more back in. So that's where I'm at right now, just being very risk averse, and that's where I really like being able to pick up multiples, like Dor said, though, because it allows you to scalp a swing. So you can have a great swing open, but you can scalp it and make yourself profitable, get your initial back, and still have that swing trade that's rocking out for you. That's the best possibility. I know it's hard to do, but those are my favorite trades.
Yeah, Joe, like I admire your trading style, man. It's like just because it's so opposite from me, and I do want to shout out Bison too. It's just like Bison brought like the perfect three people together, in my opinion, because Joe and I are completely opposite from each other, but Bison's a perfect mix. Like he does both, so he like kind of mediates this, which is awesome.
Yeah, I mean, look. I did this with intention, y'all. So, yeah, dude, I'm ecstatic. I love seeing Claynosaurs go up, and it's such a comfy hold to me because they just go up so steadily versus, what goes up rapidly comes down rapidly. We've seen that a lot in the market over the past 2 weeks. So just when you start seeing these like past 2X's and stuff over like a day plus, you got to understand
You gotta
like
get scared.
they're going to pull back again. So I don't know. You just like you got to get in and get out with some of those things. And if you start seeing it pump up way too fast for your liking, know that the downfall usually happens shortly after and just as fast, if not faster. So, guys, I love it. Let's talk a little bit about alpha. I want to see what you guys are seeing in the market. I will go a little first. My biggest alpha for you guys is use Soul Sniper. Use Soul Sniper. .xyz. I cannot stress this enough right now. Look, we preach about HellaMoon.io for overall Solana ecosystem health analytics, like seeing how many daily first signers and how healthy is our ecosystem right now, what's the TVL and all that good stuff. But Soul Sniper has been so good for buying stuff. We've seen Hyperspace get walled by Magic Eden lately. Same thing with Tensor and everything like that. Like it's been hard to buy anything on Magic Eden. Then Magic Eden comes through with the marketplace fees. We already talked about that. I'm not going to anymore. Use Soul Sniper. They have been like so neutral, so good. You can see charts. We talk about this all the time. Joe, I think at some point, maybe we need to jump on with a couple of fellas and talk about TA a little bit on NFTs and just like, just the basics that will really help give a lot of people an edge because it's come to my attention lately that a lot of people don't know just the basics of TA. And I think just having the fundamentals, like just support resistances, just seeing where volume comes in, you want to get a little bit more ambitious. We could talk about RSI and fibs. We can talk about, some of these other indicators that are a little bit more intermediate, but maybe just doing like a off stream, not one of our scheduled Tuesday or Thursday, but maybe get a couple guys in there. Dor, you're more than welcome to come, but I know you're more of a medium swing term trader, more on fundamental stuff, but
yeah, you guys can have fun with that. However, I do encourage that because that'll make good short content. So have at it, Hoss.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I think we need to get into that at some point. So Joe, I'll hit you up offline about that. But guys, I cannot stress it enough. Look at charts, get familiar with them in some way, shape, or form. Like I know Dor knows how to look at a chart and be like, that's good or bad at the very least. Like, like just look at it from.
I'm not that bad. I can look at it like that's support, that's resistance.
Yeah, exactly. And like that helps so much. Just that fundamental piece helps so much. So yeah, maybe we should start getting some shorts up on all that good stuff. But yeah, I think I'm going to start off with that, and then let's kick it over to actual NFT and Solana or crypto alpha. Joe, I want to kick it over to you first. What are we looking at? We've seen a lot of healthy pullbacks and a lot of these NFTs that have ran up. Some of them seem like they found their support. I'll get into those in a second, but I want to get your opinion. I know you aren't buying a ton of NFTs right now, but what are you looking at right now? Joe Rugg, or is he muted?
Might be muted.
He's probably muted. That's okay.
No. My MacBook desktop, the mouse died, so I had to hurry up and plug it in just so I could move it to the mute button. So we're good now. I got it right over the top of the mute button, just sitting there. So we're good to go now. But I'm sorry. Could you rephrase that question real quick, B?
Yeah, what are you looking at right now, Joe? As far as
Yeah.
any sort of trades or any NFTs, especially.
I love that. So I have my eyes on Utes and DeGods at lower levels. That's just like hope to goodness that they dump for some weird reason, and I'd like to add a few just because I offloaded a bunch of Utes on this run up, and I'd like to maybe re-enter some of my bag. That's one like trade. If everything goes down and Sol dumps again, I'll be looking to re-enter some Sol to compound. I did just enter the Jelly ecosystem with dogs and a few rascals. Just because I've talked to a few people and I like that hedge. Like this is Sol I want to hang out with, my DeGods, my Cyber Sams and stuff. Like I really would like to hold for a year and a day, like a team that, like a startup that I trust in. So I went with the Rascal fan, man. And I'll tell you what, a community that raids hard. I haven't gotten to the community yet enough to know utility, but dude, do they raid ever? That's a strong community on the social sentiment side, and I know they got some real utility backing up. But other than that, I'm here to trade right now, like looking for that BTC to crack 18. I would love a short there, but if we prosper through 18, I think we got 20, 23. Call me crazy in a higher time frame, but that's what I'm looking at right now. Just looking to trade some tokens, some invalidation setups that I have going right now. And yeah, man, trying to have some fun through this volatility before we either have an inevitable crash or inevitable consolidation in the sand pit for a while again.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right, dude. I'm glad one of us entered the Jelly ecosystem. I cannot tell you enough how many times I've hovered over a Jelly Rascal lately, especially now that I got the loan on the SMB, and I was like, dude, these look prime for a run. And of course, they went up like 20, 30 Sol. Hey, you remember when we talked about them on the show not too long ago? And they like pumped from 8 Sol to 32, and we were like, what is going on? They feel like the Sol. They feel like the DeGods of this run.
You know what it is, too, B? And I'll be honest, I have to give a shout out to Manny and Easy. And like those are two, and I asked their opinions, and they're like, dude, I have exposure, you need exposure. And I'm like, well, you know what I'm saying? I trust certain people. And like we talked about it before, right? Make your own convey and all that. But it's good to have people to have confluence and people that I care about go, good loan to value. There's a bunch of things that they're good for as well, other than just holding. And then like the Jelly talk, right? Really good chance of Jelly being incorporated Web 2, and CEXs and seeing that token as well prosper in a cool utility set. So I don't know, gambling is something that's always there and it's fleeting if you have volume that is, sketchy, but people that can do it right in the correct ways and add infrastructure, I really am bullish on that top project. And I know DC, F is kind of in their own lane, but Jelly Esports, that would be like esport and a whole different spider web of an ecosystem that could bring in a bunch of value to their holders, especially through rev share and a bunch of different tangents. So yeah, it's risky, for sure risky, but I'm excited to see how it plans out.
Yeah, they were also one of the low-key ones that just said we're going to 0% royalties before. I think they even front ran DeGods. Yeah. They're like, yeah, we're going to 0% because we're self-sustaining. And I was sitting there like,
that's going to be a meta. You'll see people trading just 0% collections, kind of. You know what I'm saying? And that more volume goes there for the average trader. Maybe Manny was saying something about meta coming with no royalty and gambling. And I said, it could be, something to wrap my head around, but I'm getting better at what Bison does and going for that good loan when you have that loan to floor value and taking it to hedge yourself against that initial drop that you most likely see if you've bought near all-time high. And I'm kind of looking at that right now, like what he did with SMB, he hedged himself beautifully. And I'm looking at that with Rascals right now, even too, right? Near the all-time high wouldn't be the worst idea. And I'm really trying to get myself within loaning, borrowing, lending, because I do think there's a lot of opportunity cost that's a very, it's not as risky. It's more risk averse for myself. With all this other risk I'm taking on with my leverage portfolio, I'm thinking like maybe I should hedge that and get harder into this type of play. So definitely my ears to the grindstone when B's talking about this stuff.
Yeah, there's again, we maybe have to have like these off schedule streams or something like that between us all and just talk about some go deeper on some of these topics, because I know we talk a lot in RareFUD about news headlines and stuff that's breaking, and kind of what we're looking at as far as like alpha for the week or stuff. But I think I really do want to shift in 2023 to more like helping you develop your own trade thesis and learning the ecosystem a little more, so that we don't even have to explain this to you guys. You guys are like, oh yeah, you guys are giving us the alpha. That's like my ultimate goal, is you guys are in chat being like, dude, I can't tell you how many people have actually shouted out really good stuff. There's somebody the other day said future traders at 6 Sol, they ran up to 15. I'm sitting there, I'm like, yes, that is the community I want to build, of alpha,
Oh yeah. Oh
yeah.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
Dor, let's go over to you real quick. What are you looking at right now?
Yeah, man. So you guys know me. I'm long-term as hell. So dude, I know I might sound crazy, but I'm looking at another supply chain voxel, dog. I got 2 whitelists for Arm Paw, man. And I'm like, every time I see a preview that comes out, I'm just like, dude, I really think these are going to print like heavy. So I'm like, I think I'm fine spending an ETH for a whitelist, like an ETH total for a whitelist spot, because I think these are going to do like 2 to 3x. Like, I got huge conviction in Adam, man. I'm pretty bullish on him. He's advising hotheads. The hotheads 1-of-1s are going for at least 100 Sol for at least an ETH. And then he knows what he's doing on the ETH side in terms of marketing. So I'm like, I'm going to either get super wrecked on Iron Paw, or your boy's going to be printing.
Yeah. Dude, I'm right there with you. I'm not actively buying, but I did delist the one that I talked about the other day, where I was like, you know what? Why? I already have a good price on this. If it does retrace, back to my entry, I'm at least getting an Iron Paw whitelist, and maybe I can sell it, after I get into that. But dude, I don't know. The thing is, though, I was on Easy stream the other day, and he's with the ETH people. I know Bunny, who's more plugged into the ETH ecosystem, had no idea what they were about. They saw them and were like, yeah, these are cool, but I don't know. So I'm trying not to look at it from a Solana ecosystem standpoint. And this is why I'm trading against ETH, is because I do think there are going to be ETH heads who go into this, and then I can kind of get in at like 0.5 ETH or something like that. Maybe try to get some, but I have my one whitelist. I don't think I'm going to go anymore. I'm not going to sell it either. I'm just going to go in with it. And then I'm just trying to accumulate ETH through Solana and trading against that pair. I think that's really fair. And this is what I'm saying. We have 2 different trading styles. Dor's got high conviction, and usually it pays off. This man, when he knows stuff, he sees stuff. He's called some.
And they'll always pay at higher multiples and less stress on the body and mind, being a long time swing conviction trader. But it's hard to do. And I know myself, I'm so OCD, I'm so crazy wired that I got to be in and out, in and out, in and out. But Dor, man, look at him. Cool, calm, collected, chill. And it's funny that you can literally just see how someone's personality is and then infer what type of trader they are. And Bison's got both, bro. He could turn up, get crazy. Then he's got the real solidified, calm, cool, collective. So I really do love it, man. I appreciate you guys. I love the dichotomy.
Man.
Or trichot. Is it a trichotomy?
The trichotomy, dog. The trichotomy.
That's right. So anything else, Dor, you're looking at?
No, dog. I told you I went Clanosaurus. Oh yeah, Critters Cult, man. They have stuff coming up like this year or whatnot. I'm looking a bit more. I know they're gonna have another mint coming up where you have to use pixels. So I'm like just trying to time it properly, not to get too early. But I'm looking to pick up like 5 to 10 critters like at 8 Sol. So
I love it, Dor. I was gonna bring this up when it came back to me, but dude, I love Critters Cult right here. I love it so much.
Yep. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm going to pick up 10 of these bad boys. I'm just like, I think it's just a matter of time. I'm like, people haven't forgot about critters. People are just distracted. And when people are distracted, that's when I like to buy. So I'm just waiting a little bit longer and get a little bit more depression in the market. And then I'm coming in at that 7.5, 8 Sol range, and I'm sweeping like 10 critters.
I love that. Yep. That's a great idea. Dude, that's what I'm into. I'm into deflationary plays right now. I think that's fun. Like stuff like that too. So that's what I'm looking at too. Anything that you can burn and add something to it, I'm really into that right now. I think that'll be coming back. I like gamified reasons to hold an NFT and then burn the supply down for another. Like for example, with like the Effective Rascals, I picked those up once I heard that you can burn a few and get a 1-of-1 rascal, like your own. I'm like, oh, that's fun. That's that's cute, that's cool. Like I like that type of stuff when you have a really cool utility already. But then you're adding a gamified action to maybe an NFT that doesn't have too much utility to it, other than maybe art or something like that. You add another pop of punch for your community. So I love Critters Call, using Pixel, that type of deal. So yeah, that's awesome, man.
Yeah, I love the Critter Cult chart right now. I was just looking at it the other day and I saw on this pullback, I was like trying to think of stuff that not a lot of people were talking about. Critters Cult's still plenty on other people's minds, like Dora said. I mean, it's still forefront for a lot of people, but another thing I'm warming up to is that I like a little bit more listed, like for instance, Jelly Rascals right now is really good for price discovery. At these high levels because there's only like 43 listed, dude. That is insane.
98% stake, which is
That
blew
is
my mind.
Crazy.
Crazy,
That
dude.
blew my mind. I said, okay, I gotta pull the trigger here, and I kept looking. I'm like, and like anything under 120 was just bought instantly, and I'm like, nah, man. And I talked to Carl, and I'm like, then he's like, yeah, he's like, the dogs, man, they're undervalued. He's like, a whole staking system's coming for them, their own token, a bunch of deflationary things for the dogs. So like in my mind, I'm like, you see Tyos and Gen 2s, you see all these. I'm like, why Jelly Dogs to the ratio of Rascal right now is insane. Like that's gonna catch up. I think that fair market value will catch up. And then yeah, we'll see. But I'm excited, man. I'm excited to hold on to some soul projects you can care about. You got Shake, I got Frank, I got all these founders that I can literally go, oh, all right, I'm chilling. Like, and that's
I'm
what
good.
I'm happy about.
Yeah.
Dude, I know we're biased, but Cyber Sams, man, I've been getting more DMs from people that are big in this space about Cyber Sams in the past week. I'm serious, no joke, man. I'm really excited I'm trying to become a whale. I'm trying to catch up to B, trying to catch up the door here. Because I think we got some stuff cooking, bro. That's another one that I'm really looking into. And I like that 8 to 8.5 soul level. So please keep flooring. Please. Floor them down to 8.5 for me.
Yeah. They're at 9.3 right now. And I look at that as a very interesting price level. Go ahead, Dor.
Yeah, man. I had a 2.5, 3 hour meeting with Shake this morning about what's coming for Cyber Samurai and things that we're doing, man. I'm super excited. I'm glad you have super high conviction on the project, guys. It makes me feel good, but it's also very stressful because I'm like, oh man, I can't let you guys down. So, but yeah, I'm super excited for everything that's coming.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Dor.
Yeah. I mean, you guys pretty much brought up everything, dude. I love the Jelly Dogs call, Joe, because we talk about it a lot. Delayed gratification is a very real thing in this ecosystem where everybody's chasing the hotness now. Well, they have a second collection. It's called Jelly Dogs, and they are at a way smaller price than Jelly Rascals. So if they come out with their own staking mechanism, what's going to be easier to 3x? Something at 7 SOL or something at 140? You know what I mean?
And the 98% hold limit by your founder tells you that most of the unique holders are Jelly Rascal holders for dogs. So that would correlate to a 90% or higher staking. So it's little nuances you can always look at in the market like that to kind of predict how a project might play out. So great correlation, B.
Yep. I love it. So I'm big, buying SMB is fun. It gives me another, I try and tier it in loadable assets of how much I get on value. So
that's so smart.
I have a couple of things. Yeah, SMB was a no-brainer to me because I got a 280 soul loan.
Crazy.
For something I bought at 340 or something. So I knew there was
crazy
a
to me.
And for me, it was like, well, I'm buying close to all-time highs, which scares me. I do not like buying things, especially an expensive project. You know me, guys, if you follow the channel at all, I am not an expensive soul project buyer. I don't. I barely buy anything over 20 soul. SMB is just one of those things that they're one catalyst away from being the CryptoPunks of Solana. They already kind of are, but they're just that one chain they need to break. That's a very stubborn chain. Once they do, I think they absolutely run. But I just saw a really good LTV on it. And so from a trader standpoint, I can get liquidity for 14 days. And if you don't think I can make the 12 soul interest on 280 soul that I get from there back in trades over the next 14 days, or I guess 10 days now, which I've already made about 7 soul from it after a couple losses from trying to trade bonk and knife catch there. I made some plays on Cyber Samurai and some Planosaurs. I've been looking for this. So this drawdown was really good. I'm buying projects. I love Critters Cult. Love the Jelly Dogs call, dude. Oh, I'm gonna look so heavy into that. Cyber Sam's, I think, is good. I'm looking at all these plays, and I think Liberty Square is another one.
Oh yeah,
that
great call.
I actually sold my hollowed because I think they will see a little bit more drawdown and using that liquidity into squirrels, which I think have already found their support.
And they have a great loan to floor value as well, B. And dude,
Yep.
that's you're training. I love it, man. He's training me, bro. My paradigm's trading as a I'm starting to look at these assets as different than just flipping, man. I'm like, what can I get out of this? I love that, bro. Thank you.
Well, yeah, I just know, Joe, that you and I can make 5% on that loan value back in the next 14 days. Like, it's not hard. You can find those riskless plays, but yeah,
dude, it's so crazy because you guys, it's like it stresses me out thinking, man, I got to make this 12 sold in like 2 weeks. Like, I'm like, I need a little bit longer than that, dog.
Give me the pressure.
But yeah, it's funny because like enough pressure at the first few days I made like, because this is, I've only taken a few loans and they've been much smaller value than 280 SOL, where I'm paying 12 SOL back in interest. And that sounds crazy to me. But at the same time, it's like I'm hedging the downside of SMB. I'm able to use that liquid to make plays to make that interest back, plus whatever I gain off of it. And I was just sitting there like, man, I can either default on this loan if it goes, like if it rockets back down to 200 SOL for some reason, or I can make these plays and make gains. And I don't know, it's fun to me. It's a fun dynamic that we haven't had before, and Sharkify just makes it so easy to do. So I'm always looking for these. I like tiering them. I now have that blue chip I can loan out for a ton of liquidity, and I really didn't need 280 SOL. Like there wasn't enough plays. Like I still have 240 SOL in my wallet. Like I haven't not deployed enough capital, but I didn't want to. I really should have loaned out my Clanosaur. There was a really good LTV on Clanosaurs, which is a nice mid chip that has really good LTV these days. It's only a 7-day loan, which is the only thing that sucks about it, but you're paying less in interest, and I can trade enough in a week to make like 2 SOL in profit. So I don't know. It's just, you find in these little nuances. Sharky.fi, if you guys want to check it out. You also have Fract and stuff, but I think Sharky's easier to borrow against your NFTs personally. So
quick clarification for us. I see a comment here in YouTube, and they said that Clay Discord says that they're taking the shot of all 3 NFTs. Do we know that? Are you? That's a good question. I'm wondering how they're basing the Clay. I thought it was just Clay makers.
No, I just checked it. They said both delisted Clanos, and Clay makers, and of course sardines.
Huh. Okay. All right.
Cool.
Yep. All right. Thank you. That does it.
There you go. So we should see a nice little pump in Clanosaurus, but again, it's looking at the lower value one and saying, they're both getting the same amount of clay. I think it's 1 clay per Clanosaur and 1 clay per clay maker. At least I haven't seen anything contrary to that belief. I thought it was just clay makers at first, so maybe they changed that too. But you look at this, what's going to move more, a 6 SOL floor price or a 40 SOL? And so in the short term, I'm taking all these small bets where, my downside's limited, but my upside's massive and I'm risking less. I don't know. This is fun, dude. I enjoy this a lot. I'm still trading NFTs. I'm still having way more fun in coins right now, especially until we figure out what's going on with marketplaces and whatnot. But guys, I think that about does it. Ybarra was also asking about Lush Coin and Bear Coin. I'm not trading any more tokens on Bird Eye unless it is Bonk. Bonk is really the only thing I'm looking at right now. I do think all of these things will consolidate back into Bonk. I did get airdropped like 690 million Lush or whatever it was. I don't even know if that has any value or where I can trade it, but it's there. I know it's a very real thing. So,
dude, I'm sorry. I'm just like skeptical on all these coins that's coming out getting airdrop, dude. It's like that's a quick way to get drained, man. I'm not touching that stuff. That stuff is just going to sit there, not do anything, because I rather not risk my portfolio being wiped out because I wanted to make $2 from a trade. I'm good.
Yeah. I'm in the same boat. If you are going to play those coins, don't play with money you can you can't afford losing. So just be careful with it. I'm not playing any more tokens. I'm tired of the roulette. If I'm going back with the token, it's going to be Bonk. So yeah, that about does it. Guys, any more closing remarks before we close out the show?
I just appreciate everybody being here again, man. This is so fun. I can't believe we're almost hitting like an hour 30, dog. This was a blast. I'm like, I can keep going.
Yeah, I know. I could too. This is one day that I'm not feeling tired.
Than the boys. Talking with the boys. I appreciate you. Sorry, B. We got a
No,
little
you're good.
latency over here. My bad, brother.
No, you're good. Yeah, I think that about does it, guys. Unless there's anything else we have like a screaming need to talk about. This has been a really fun show. I appreciate everybody for tuning into RareFUD Radio, joining the boys, talking about coins, talking about NFTs. The market is vibing again. Hopefully, Magic Eden doesn't ruin everything like they always do. But that's just me. And I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. We'll see you on the next episode of RareFUD Radio, Thursday, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Everything will be uploaded to our podcast platforms, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. You can watch back on YouTube. We are coming out with shorts. We're on Twitter. You literally can't miss us. We're everywhere. We are ever present. So appreciate all of you guys. Hope you have a great rest of your day. We'll see you on the next episode of RareFUD Radio.